Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
we can
Yes,
ma'am,
hear
you're
ma'am.
you.
audible.
Yes,
Ma'am, we
ma'am.
can
You
hear
are
you.
audible.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're loud and clear.
Hear them. अब कुछ हो गया? I cannot hear them.
Ma'am, you should
Chat नहीं आया. Yes.
re-log in so that there is no issue with your system actually.
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am.
Can you see my slides?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
we begin
Yes, ma'am.
the next
Yes,
topic?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's visible, ma'am. You're able to proceed.
क्या हुआ है? देखो नहीं yes yes sir. You're clearly audible. I don't know, Mama. Okay, I'll just carry on. Fine. Okay, you can see my slides. In last class, that was on Tuesday, we discussed the systems, the levels of systems that we have in an organization. Just 1 minute review on that. We just like an organization is seen as a triangle which consists of 3 levels: the topmost level, the middle level, and the lower level. For each of these levels, we have for each of these level we have a different system operating. For the lowest level, we have what we call the transaction processing system. We have what we call the transaction processing system. Then we have the transaction processing system. Then for the middle level, we have the management information system. And the topmost level, we have executive support systems. We have the executive support systems. So at the lowmost level, we have transaction processing systems, which have to be online and current, because if they do not function, we will not be able to capture data. We will not be able to capture the data and record the transactions. And these are the levels where every minute detail is recorded. Like for a sale, what is the item sold, which is the SKU of the item sold, what is the batch number, how many units were sold, what was the price it was sold, the customer who bought it, and so on. At the middle level, it is for the functional heads. Herein, we prepare reports and their summary of transactions which have taken place in the recent past, like what has been the sale in the last quarter. At the higher level, topmost level, we have what we call executive support systems, which are for use for senior level managers, like the CEO and the board of directors, for which the chief executive officer and the board of directors, herein they don't have time, so we do not give reports also or summary of the transactions which have taken place. We present the information in the form of graphs. So these are the 3 levels which exist in an organization. Beyond this, organization also have what we call the decision support system. They have what we call the decision support systems, which are like which you can say are like which are like support systems which come to use only when it is required by the organization. So they are not in operation all the time. And how do we define a decision support system? The simplest definition is by reversing the terms. We say it's a system which would support any decision. So just reverse the terms: decision support system. Easiest definition would be it is a kind of a system which supports any decision. Any system that supports a decision can be called a decision support system. It consists of 3 units. One is the data, the other is a certain set of models, and the third is a user-friendly software, an interactive software. So when we see it as a system and we break it down, it can be broken down into 3 components. One is the data, the other is certain models, and the third is the interactive software. So it can be seen as to consist of 3 components. The data. What we mean by data is any data related to the organization. They could be marketing oriented data, sales data. They could be how many units of which item we have produced. So they could be operation related data. They could be they could be HR data. Who are the employees in your organization? What is their experience and so on? And they also could be your so they could be HR data, or they could also be finance oriented data. So data could be related to human resources. Data could be related to the production system, how much inventory you have, how many units you have produced. Data could be related to the marketing. What is the advertising budget? How much are you spending on your promotions? What which Where are the markets? Where are the markets? They could be related to the employees. They could be human resources data. So let's say we categorize the data into HR data, operations oriented data, marketing data, and finance related data. That's one component. Then we make use of certain models. They could be pricing models. They could be models for advertising as to what is the advertising budget. If this is the budget, how it is going to impact the sales. They could be inventory oriented models. So we have certain models built in. And the third is the interactive software. What it does is it seeks data, maybe HR data. It puts it into a certain model that we have, and then it gives you an answer. So there are three components: data. So they could be HR related, operations related, marketing related data. There are certain set of models: inventory related models, warehousing models, supplier relationship models, and uh, the software elicits data, makes use of certain model, and gives you an answer. Specific occasions. Now, why we say custom built for specific analysis, analysis, very interactive. In my
मैम चली गई क्या?
नहीं गई अभी.
The delivery time might be shortened. Excuse me. The delivery time might be shortened. So if he was supplying me in 10 days, today he'll be willing to supply me maybe in 7 days time. So what have I done to see the impact of a reduction in supplier base?
Excuse me,
and the
ma'am.
number of suppliers.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but you were not audible since the past few minutes. Okay, just let me check. And slides are also not visible.
Slides are also not visible.
Yes, ma'am. Slide share can వచ్చిన slide share లేకుండా. Can you see the slides now, students? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we carry
Yes,
on
ma'am.
from where we had left off. DSS, as we said, we reverse those terms, it becomes any system which supports a decision. The other thing we said is that it consists of three components. One is a data, which could be HR related data, operations related data, marketing related data, or finance oriented data. The other component is model. So we built certain models, we hold certain database, and we access data and make use of certain models to give me an answer, and that we do only when there is a requirement. So it is a single system under user control. The other feature of DSS, it is custom built for specific occasion. What we mean by custom built is it must have those variables within itself to answer to a certain query. It is like a what if analysis. The example that we gave, if we have a budget of 1 lakh, advertising budget of 1 lakh of rupee, what is going to be the sales? If we increase the budget by say 20% or 40%, what is going to be the impact on the sales? A kind of a what if analysis is undertaken. But it must have a certain, it will be able to answer certain query if it is built into the system. Like we create a model. On one side, we have supplier base, which is an independent variable. We call it independent because we vary it. We can increase or decrease it. And we set a relationship of number of suppliers with, say, three factors, three variables: price, delivery time, and reliability for supplier. If we have
a total volume of 100 units, which we demand from a supplier, and we distribute that 1,000 units among 10 suppliers. Each supplier will supply me 100 units. I can reduce the supplier to 5. If I reduce it to 5, then each supplier will be supplying me 200 units. Automatically, the reliability of the supplier is going to increase. Reliability of the supplier would increase because now he's getting a larger volume to supply me. From 100 units, we have doubled the volume that he'll supply me. We will demand 200 units from him. Now let us further reduce the suppliers. We give the entire volume of production to 2 suppliers. So each gets a unit, 500 units. So 5 times we have increased our purchase from him. So maybe each of the supplier would decide to reduce on the price. If he was supplying me at 100 rupees per unit, he would be willing to give me maybe at 80 rupees or 75 rupees per unit. So we have created a relationship between, on one hand, the number of suppliers, 2, the price, the delivery time, and the reliability of the supplier. But if we have not put, say, reliability of supplier or loyalty of supplier as a variable, it would not be giving you that answer. It would give you only answer to price and delivery time. So it must be built. That variable must be built into the system for it to answer me, to answer to my queries. We could have another example. How does the change in size of package of a box affect other products the company produces in terms of shipping, in terms of display shelf in the store? So I have a small pack and the retailer gives me shelf space. He allows me to put 10 of my units on a particular shelf. But if increase the package size, so the box size has doubled, then naturally within that space, I will not be able to display 10 units. The retailer will give me only that limited space. So maybe I'll be able to display only 5 units on my store, on the retailer shelf. So this is how you relate it in terms of display on the shelf store, in terms of shipping cost. So whatever the variables are, if they're built into the system, will it be able to answer? If it is not built into the system, it will not be able to answer to that query. So it consists of what we call what if analysis, like seeing how change to one variable, which we call the independent variable, is going to affect the dependent variables. So if we reduce advertising by 10%, what would happen to the sales? So advertising is my independent variable, sales is my dependent variable. Then sensitivity analysis is another method. How repeated change to a single variable would affect other variables. So if you go on repeatedly reducing advertising budget by 10% and so making
Ma'am, there are a lot of breakages in your
changes
voice.
to select variable.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Constraint could be constraint could be a choice of media. So what is the best amount of advertising given a certain budget and a choice of media? We are allowed to use only print media,
we are not allowed to use maybe the TV or any other media. So these are the 4 methods that we use. What if analysis, where we see how change to one independent variable will bring about change in the dependent variable. Sensitivity analysis is the second method, where we make repeated changes. So like say for instance, we go on increasing advertising budget by 10% and see its relationship with sales, how it is going to impact the sales. Goal seeking analysis, where the dependent variable is decided upon and we go on changing the independent variable till that goal of say 1 million $1 million sales is reached. An optimization analysis is an optimum value for selected variables given certain constraints, like for instance, what is the best amount of advertising given a certain budget constraint or a choice of media constraint. So this is DSS. DSS, as we said, is any system that supports a decision. It is an integrated system which can be said to be consisting of 3 components. One is the database, where we have HR related, operations related, marketing related, or finance related data. Then on the other component, we have certain models, which could be financial related models, which could be finance related models, which could be human resource related models, which could be marketing oriented models, or which could even be operations oriented models. And we extract information from this database, data from the database, make use of a certain model to give you an answer. So these are the 3 components: database, model base, and interactive software. They are built into a single system under user control, and they are custom built for specific occasions. So if that variable is not built into the system, it will not be able to answer to my query. Like we took an example here, we set a relationship between number of suppliers and price and delivery time. If we don't have reliability of the supplier built into the system, then it will not be able to answer to your query about how it is going to impact the loyalty of the supplier. But if we have the reliability of loyalty of supplier and we have quantified it and put it into the system, it will be able to answer to my query. So these are the 4 methods that we use. What if analysis, where we see how a change in independent variable is bringing about a change in the dependent variable. Sensitivity analysis, under which we go on changing the independent variable and see its relationship with the dependent variable. Goal seeking analysis, we go on making changes on the independent variable till a certain goal has been reached. And finally, last is optimization analysis, which is finding an optimum value for selected variable given certain constraints, like what is the best amount of advertising given a certain budget limit or a certain choice of media or any other limitation that we can bring into it. Now, any query students have? Any query, anything that you want to clarify, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I think I can just introduce the other topic.
Ma'am, excuse me,
Yes.
ma'am. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but ma'am, there were a lot of breakages in your voice today, so you were not audible most of the times, and we actually tried to add our voice was not audible to you, I guess.
Okay, so I think your session is over at 9:20 today, isn't it? Your session
Yes,
gets over
yes,
at
ma'am.
9:20
Yes,
today.
ma'am.
So tomorrow's session, I will just discuss this briefly before I move on to the next topic. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.